Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun, looking at charts, hanging out with you guys. I don't have a drink tonight because I am still getting over a cold, but I got some water here, so cheers to you guys. Happy to go over requests. And Saul, I do see a request on ChargePoint, so I'm happy to go over that. I just thought I'd start with SoFi. I just put out a video on them. Yeah, I just feel I'm going to take a drink of water first. Um, yeah, I feel like this is a chart that I feel really compelled by just the number of signals that I was talking about in the video with the top in there. And I think I might actually buy some puts on it. I haven't done it yet, and I'm happy to go over that if you guys are interested. But also, happy to not if you guys don't care. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like there are so many signals suggesting the top is in, but maybe it blows past it and I'm wrong. Who knows? But it's like the Unity software chart that I recently went over. I was just really confident in that. And I didn't partake in it, and I don't usually partake in things on the way down, but because I don't actually know how to short. But one way to do that is by buying puts, and I've been getting more comfortable with options lately. So yeah, I thought that might be fun. But anyways, yeah, I can definitely go over ChargePoint. It's been a while since I've gone over it, and yeah, I mean, let's see. We can let's see here. Um, yeah, I'm just thinking about, what have I, because it came down to 132. I feel like I probably added to my position at 132. Just checking my phone to see what I did with it. And yeah, I mean, I've been selling covered calls with it as I can. But yeah, let's see. Well, that's weird. I think let's see. I think I have an order placed to buy at 121. And so I think, just being a little conservative, not trying to, add too crazy to my position or too aggressively, being ready for if it were to come down to 121. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it bounced at 132. 132 seems like it was the bottom there. I'm just going to adjust the axis so it's automatically fit. And yeah, I mean, looking at this, let's see, what's that orange line? 153. That is actually where I bought my last clump of shares. I'm kind of surprised I didn't get a clump of 100. I bought 23 to get my position up to being divisible by 100 at 153. Based on the highs over here, just thinking that might be a level of support since there was some consolidation there. We did go past it. We do now have this gap to the upside, but it does look like, this downtrend does seem to kind of coincide with, let's see, 158 being the, what was the high today? The high was 157. Yeah, so that seems like a lot of resistance just up ahead. But, with looking at the MACD here, it does seem like it's flipping over, maybe to be green, but it doesn't seem like too strong. It doesn't seem like there's much, I don't really know how to describe it, but just like momentum with it flipping over here. It seems kind of weak, like it could be flattening out and then turning red again. So yeah, and actually it's pretty sad. I had an order at 121 and the low is 123. But for me personally, I'm just waiting. I have, I think ChargePoint as far as shares go is, if not my second largest position, my third largest position. And yeah, so I mean, I don't really want to add too aggressively to it. So I'm just kind of waiting, if it does come down to the, I believe, all-time lows, at least 52-week lows of 121, then personally I would add. But if it doesn't, then I'm happy holding my shares and it not going down to 121. And I think my average is around 250, maybe 234. And I do see some comments on Doge, on WTO, and on, I think, is that Loony or Lunar? I'm just going to type up because there's this heart emoji that blocks it LUNR, Lunar. Yeah, I think that was requested recently. I think by Ricardo. I'm not sure if that's right. Um, but yeah, I can definitely go over those. That one's. I hope that those who are holding it are happy with the moves that it's recently had. But yeah, let's see. Doge, and I could probably. It's probably better for me to look at that in Trading View, Dogecoin. But I can look at it here. And then let's see, WTO. Is that right? UTime LTD. I've not looked at that one before. And yeah, Intuitive Machines. Yeah, Lunar. So that's a pretty cool one. Let's see. Up only 1% today, but I know it. Oh, wait, that's in the after hours, but I know it had a pretty big day. So I'll just go over those in the order that they were received. Saul, if you want me to follow up on ChargePoint at all, but this for me, like, let's see. I know I've sold a number of covered calls, so um, it doesn't say I have to. Yeah, I've got 1,200 shares, so not like a super huge position or anything. My average, it looks like, is at 233. So yeah, I mean, I am just chilling, selling covered calls, I believe, with a strike of 250 if they get filled. And if we do close above 250, I'll end up having to trim at that price. But given that the current price is down here so low, and the high over here being 244, that was the high from July 17th. I feel like it's pretty unlikely to be getting back up to, my position at least being in the green. So I haven't been too aggressive in buying this dip, but I mean, maybe it is encouraging that we did get a higher low than the low from April 22nd, that being 121. The low over here, like I had mentioned, is 123. But yeah, I mean, just looking at this MACD, I mean, this, kind of like had this nice big switch from green to red, or sorry, red to green, and had this massive move from that trend line up about 90%. But then we've seen a pretty big drawdown, and hopefully 132 holds as support if we do pull back, or this red uptrend that's based on these two lows. So really, I'd look for it to be holding around that uptrend, which would be about 140. So like ideally not seeing any closes below 140. But yeah, I mean, like if one is holding charge point, like I am, I'm waiting until 121 to start adding again. And if that doesn't happen, then it's all just easy. And maybe if a lot of time passes when it's down below 153, then I might just be like, oh well, I'll just add some more while it's down here, just kind of chilling. And I see some more from FR. Sorry, a few more Turian orbital prospects since Lockheed's buying. So I'll add these up, and then I'll start going over Doge, which is the first one requested. And yeah, let's see. So Turian orbital. Orbit. Let's see. Orbital. Terran orbital. I assume this is it. LLAP. And let's see. And then MNTS. I'll look up them as well. And then Iridium Communication. DM. Oh. I assume you're looking for IRDM. So I'll throw that up there. But yeah, I'll go over Doge. Real quick, not too much to go over with this, but I might actually switch over to Trading View just because I'm not really sure how the daily candles close here, if they're East Coast time or GMT. And so I think that crypto should be GMT. So I'm going to pull up Trading View right here. And let's see, I've got natural gas up there, so I'm going to switch it over to Doge. And I will do Doge from Coinbase, although I don't think this goes back super far in time. So I might do Doge from, let's see, there's Coinbase and Binance. That's the one I want, I think. Goes back a little bit further in time. And let's see. And I'm sorry, I'm not that great at navigating the charts over here. Yeah, so I mean, looking at this, it seems like we've just got this, pretty massive downtrend. Let's see if, just approximate there. And so, yeah, I mean, we need to be breaking above that. And we haven't. So I would think, getting closes above, man, that's like not really that much further above current price. These are daily candles. Yeah, I mean, if we start closing like above 11 cents, I think that'd look really good. That could be suggesting a breakout. But like over here, when we were getting above that trend line, there were wicks above, but no real closes above. And so, yeah, I think that we could be looking at a breakout for a lot of cryptocurrencies right now. I've been seeing a lot of people posting about Bitcoin on X right now. And yeah, but it could also be a fake out. I feel like we really need to see strong closes to suggest this will be continuing higher. And for me, I've just been doing like very, very boring daily dollar cost average buys of Doge. And I think that, yeah, I mean, like big picture, looking at Dogecoin, is this axis? It's on the log scale. I'm sorry. That was like, yeah, it should look a little bit more. Okay, so from this high, okay, I can adjust this. Yeah, I mean, we could say this from, so not getting any closes above. Yeah, I mean, this is effectively, it looks like it could be breaking out pretty soon. And yeah, I mean, big picture for me with Doge, it's like, it didn't get up to $1, got up to like 75 cents or so. And yeah, I mean, if this goes up to $1, that's a 10x. So yeah, now's the time to accumulate while it's down around 10 cents in my view. This was like the great time to accumulate. I started buying at the end of 2023, at least started stacking, for the trade that I'm currently in. And so my plan is basically once it hits $1 to sell half of my position. So then I, make money on it, and dollar cost averaging up until I have 10,000 coins, which isn't a crazy amount. It's actually a pretty small amount, but I'm just trying to not get too crazy with it. So yeah, I mean those are my thoughts on Doge. I think that this will be $1 a coin at some point, and excuse me, I think it'll definitely be going above $1 a coin, but there might be some resistance around there. So yeah, and there might even be some resistance around 75 cents or 69 cents. There's definitely probably going to be some resistance around 22, as that was, this level up here. So good to keep an eye out for that. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. And hey, what's up, Quoto? Let's see. I might hold off on adding all what you requested there, just so I don't get too overwhelmed by stuff. And then I see ICP as well, which is crypto. So I'll first go over the other stocks that are up here, and then I'll get to the more recent requests. And let's see. Cool. All right. So I think the next one on the list, TWO, was requested by Sweet Lovely. So let's check that one out. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, I think that this just looks dangerous. It had a 1 for 25 reverse split, and price just went down 50 cents. Yeah, market cap of 9 million. This candle down 96% on the day. I think this looks like it's dying, so I would stay away from it. I don't think that there's, um, yeah, I mean, like, look at this. It's had a similar move down 70%, or sorry, 61% basically in July of last year. And then it continued down 40% more. So over the course of 2 days, it dropped, over the course of a few days, it dropped about 80%. And then it took like a year for it to, build back those gains. So, like, let's say from the lows over here, that went up 340%. So, I mean, this is one way to think about it. So from that big drop there, let's just move that over there. That, I don't think that, yeah, I don't know. I feel like because this is from $12 up to that. So, excuse me. I mean, maybe it could do this, but that's a hold of over a year. And I feel like more realistically, if it was, let's see, what was it over here? Up 340%. And then so over here, that's like 3,400%. I feel like that's kind of unlikely. So let's just move this down to 340%. That'd be getting up to like $6. So I mean, maybe this is a good play for holding for a year, with the hope of something like this happening again. But it just seems really risky because if I'm just gonna remove the drawings, if we look at this on the weekly time frame, this was back in start of 2022, trading at like 60, back at like, I guess when it started in April of 2021, it was like 2,700, almost $2,683.25. But yeah, I mean, it's just come down a lot. So I mean, if you want to hold this for a year, maybe you could 3x, maybe more, but it just seems pretty risky. So yeah, I mean, I feel like in the time frame of 1 year passing, these are the daily candles. This is crazy. Yeah, I mean, in the time frame of 1 year of holding this, hoping for a 340% gain like it was over here, I feel like that there are plenty of other trades, some that would lose, some that would win. I think that one could be involved in enough trades that are winning on the winning side to do better than 340 and have be exposed to more diversity in stocks. And yeah, I mean, and also, I just think it seems like a risky hold because maybe it just continues to go down. Maybe it takes more than a year or more than, whatever that would be. So yeah, I think it looks risky. And I think that, like, what I've been doing with options lately is I'm holding some right now that I'm just going to lose money on. But what I've been doing with them for the most part is I've been being wise about the ones I get into, and I've been exiting at 20%. And I just like kind of stack those gains. I just like rinse and repeat with that. Different stocks, try not to get back in the same ones. But yeah, I mean, like, if I get into a good pattern with that, I think that I could be, I'd feel better about doing that and making money than holding on to something like this for a 340% gain. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that's some good perspective. But yeah, I mean, I just say this is risky. And yeah, I guess I'll add this to the DGen Ed list. And I will delete it from here. And so the next one on the list is Lunar. Okay, and so, man, whenever NASCAR is here, whenever Quoto's here, I alwa's got to check the chat because they're always good follow-up. So NASCAR saying WTO was a Chinese company brought to market by Bosted. They were the OG Chinese underwriter. Previous ticker was UTME. Lots of manipulation with that ticker in the past. Yeah, so a risky one, it sounds like. So, and I'm just gonna clear my throat. I'm getting over a cold. Sorry, I'm just gonna mute myself. So 1 second. There you go. Sorry you didn't have to hear that. And yeah, so Anfodrew is saying charge point again. Hopefully you loaded around 125. I actually was waiting for. So I'll just go over charge point really quick because I've already gone over it. But yeah, charge point. I was talking about how for me, I added to my position. I didn't load at 153. I thought that'd be support. Now we're trading below it. It's acting as resistance. And 132 looked like it held up as pretty nice support, hitting a low though of 123. So yeah, 125 would have been a great level to load at. I have an order waiting for 121. Just kind of like I don't really want to add to my position. It's large enough. And but if it does cross below 121, I'd add there, and then I'd reevaluate to see where the bottom is. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to have that cash on the side and not be going into it. But if I did want to add 132, 125, as you say, and then the low over here was let's see, 128. So that's another good level, and then 121. But really, I mean, if we hit 121, it could be a lookout below type of situation. So yeah, 125. Congrats if you did buy that because that was an excellent dip buy right there. I will add. I'm gonna get back to the chat and I'll add the tickers as they do pop up. But I had already gone over charge points, so pretty quick for me to go over that one. And so let's see. I went over WTO and Intuitive Machines Lunar. So yeah, this one's pretty awesome. It's up. It went up 38% on the day. I had gone over this and I feel bad. I think Ricardo had requested this earlier, and it seems like I was probably suggesting that it could be coming down to fill this gap, and that did not happen. I tend to be on the more cautious side. I feel like I'm always looking out for the moves to the downside, and that's not always a good way to trade, especially because one thing that I've been finding is that gaps that are left behind, I feel like they are there for people who pay attention to them and then just wait for them, and then they miss out on a lot of great potential and opportunity. And there was just clearly a lot of great opportunity, from the lows here, it's 450 up to the highs, almost 100% move coming down to that close, that's 66% up. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of times what happens with gaps is, you kind of expect it to get filled, but the reality is, people who, are left behind, people are wanting to have orders filled at 425. Oh, I didn't buy down here. I should have. So, when it comes back to fill that gap, I'll buy. But then because the people who were buying over here might still be buying up here, so they increase their average, they get their average above this gap, and then so they have their stop losses. Or yeah, actually no, I don't know. I'm just trying to think, why gaps get left behind. And so my thought process is, if yeah, because now people who wanted to get down here and didn't, they wanted to wait for the gap, are probably like, oh crap, there's another gap to the upside, I miss out. And then they FOMO buy up here, and then bigger positions or whatever, smarter money offloads, and then they're left holding the bag. And so yeah, I mean, with this though, I think it seems like really good news, but I mean, it's holding up here around 750. And so like over here, these lows right around 730 down to like 650. So I feel like, I mean, in the range, so I'll just draw it. Maybe this is kind of sloppy, but like going from the lows over here up to the highs of that low, or maybe that pivot low there. Yeah, I mean, I think this is like a region where there could be some support found because we got all this trading happening. The bottom's here, so that's clearly support over there. Top of that support right here, then break below it, and then here, get a wick up to that level, get rejected, but then blow past it, rejected over here, and then it looks like it could potentially be acting as support, maybe a pullback to 660. It looks like from the axis over there, but it could not necessarily coming back to fill this gap. That would be coming back to the close of 540, the close of yesterday, the 17th. But it could be just coming down to 616 or maybe $6 if it does pull back. But it is holding up there, and so like let's see what happened over here. I mean, so this was like, I'm just trying to think, here gapped up and pulled back, but then it gapped up again, continued higher, and then gapped up. Yeah, I mean, so looking at how this went in the past, although the volume traded on this spike is much higher than over there. So I guess it might be tough to kind of sustain that. But then looking at the RSI here, this went up to 92 today. It was up to 73.04. So yeah, I mean, I think that this could continue up, but eventually I think it could be coming back down to like the $7 to $6 range, whatever this box is in, or right around there. Maybe this peak here ends up acting as support, which is just below current price. So yeah, I mean, I think that this could keep running, but at this point, it's gotten really risky. I feel like it's bad to be chasing. But if you're in it, it might be good to like trim half or trim a quarter, and then hold on to the rest to see if it can get up to like let's see, 10 to $12. Let's actually, I'll throw up the volume profile here, and so yeah, maybe it could be. It looks like it's kind of at a level there. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's good to be cautious with it, but it might still be going. So, and actually, I'll leave that there if I want to pull it up, but I don't want to see it. It's a little distracting. So, all right, yeah. So hopefully that's helpful. I'll check the comments to see if there's any more follow-up on that. Yes, I'll Nameless, I will definitely review what you've requested. I'm just kind of I've fallen behind on the chat, so I'm just kind of working my way down the list. So I got a few tickers ahead. Maybe I'll just work my way through the list. And so I got Intuitive Machine, so hopefully that's helpful, FR. And let's see. ICP is the future, it's the best project out there, is what Nick is requesting. Oh, and Nick also requested AMC in the after hours, and that was actually before ICP. So I'll go over AMC and then ICP, but I'll do that in TradingView. So what's going on with AMC in the after hours? Let's see, switching over. Yeah, so I don't really see too much. One thing that I was kind of noticing, not necessarily on the including after hours pricing, I think just on the daily, one thing that I was noticing with AMC is that, let's see, from like the highs over here, and I'll probably include this, I think this will probably be the focus of the video on Friday unless we see some kind of exciting price action. But so, just drawing that trend line from the high of June 6th and then the high of August 1st, got plenty of wicks going above that level, but no closes above it. And, we see resistance over here. So yeah, I think that that is kind of an important level that we need to be breaking above. And so maybe we pull back down to like 462 or something, 460, and kind of get a double bottom there before we start to make a move, break above this. But maybe that happens, without pulling back that much. But yeah, I mean, I just think that in the price range of like 4 to 6 with AMC, I feel like there's nothing really crazy about it in that range. We're just kind of consolidating before we see a break, whether that's to the upside or the downside. And there are these two gaps, and I think whichever gap we get to, I think that's going to determine the direction. If we go down to 291, I think we're probably going lower. And I don't really see that happening. I feel like the lowest we get to is around 350, which is the open from this candle over here. And so that's where, I'm basically waiting for that level. I don't think I need to add too much more aggressively. For my position, everybody's different. But just as far as, my plan moving forward, I'm just waiting for 350. But, maybe a month from now, I'll be in a different situation, and then I'd be a little bit more aggressive. If it's still, in the 4 to 6 range, but breaking into like 7, getting up to like 685, I think then we could really be taken off after that. And I did do a video on that analysis, kind of going over these emotions and stuff. So that was from last week. So hopefully that was helpful. And let's see. I will check out ICP, I believe. Yeah. So I'll look at that in TradingView, ICP. And this is for, I'll do it in Binance. Pretty crazy. This was up at 2,800, so I don't know that it's going back that high. But looking at the highs over here, yeah, I mean, because really, this is, okay, so this is from that year. This is going back to 2021. So let's see. These highs were around 85. Yeah, so I'm actually just kind of surprised at the shape of this, especially with this being from Binance. I think they'd have a longer history. But with this, yeah, let's see. ICP, can I do a comparison? Let's see, divided by, I don't know if comparing this with Bitcoin. This will just be really small. Let's see, and okay. I'm not used to doing this, so we'll see what happens there. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought that might be interesting, but yeah, this hasn't really gone up. Like over here, that's maybe I want to do this inverse. I'm not sure. So okay, so it's just gone higher. I don't know. The math here is pretty funny because I could have just done Bitcoin divided by ICP, but I didn't want to retype it. But yeah, let's see. This, I don't think this is helpful. Leave, yes. Oh. Okay, so there's Doge. Yeah, ICP. I mean, oh man, crap. That's not what I wanted. Yeah, I mean, maybe this could be going back to 85. This is the highs of 2021, so September 2021, 86. And so I'm just going to go back to Doge. And so let's see. The highs over here were May of 2021. So there's kind of like a lag in ICP. But yeah, I mean, those were highs over here. And so Yeah, I could see ICP going back to those levels. No reason why it wouldn't. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know this one enough, and the chart doesn't really have enough history for me to uh, share too much on it. So, hopefully that's helpful. I think right now all of crypto is just like a waiting game. Now is the time to be stacking slow and steady. So, hopefully that's helpful. And let's see. I've got a few more here. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to clear up what's on here. So I've gone over Lunar. And let's see, from your requests, let's see, Terran here. I guess I have gone over this. This has dropped massively though. And so, yeah, I mean, when stuff drops massively like this, especially when, the charting that I had done up here, and then from, when I did that, yeah, that's pretty crazy. I don't know. It must have just dropped shortly. I have no idea when I drew that. But let's see. From this, if I add the 236, well, the 2618 and the, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just, kind of throwing up lines there now. And yeah, I think this looks pretty risky. Market cap, a little less than 50 million. But it sounds like, they might have a contract with, or let's see what's FR says about this. Prospectus since Lockheed buy. Yeah, so I'm not too familiar with that. I'm not sure if this is the right ticker. But oh, Nick, compared to render as far as ICP goes. So I'll switch over to that, and let's see, divide that by RENDR. All right, so let's look at that. Oh, crap. Not sure how to, let's see, RENDR. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I'm not too familiar with looking at cryptocurrencies, comparing them like this and stuff. So I don't really know that I can add too much to it. My thesis with cryptocurrencies is really just like a slow and steady dollar cost average, buy and hold. Yeah, or at least, buy and hold now because we're not, mooning. So there's no sense in like trimming now. But yeah, so I don't really know that I have too much to add to them. And whenever I do a Bitcoin, Doge, or any kind of crypto video, I always get a bunch of spam comments. So I don't really like making those kind of videos, but it's quite possible the reason why I get spam comments is because it's during a bear market or a down cycle, and so maybe that's a sign that of the cycle that we're in. And once we get more real comments, then it's more of a bull cycle. But yeah. Terran Orbital, I think that this looks risky because, yeah, up here, $9, and this is listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and it seems, yeah, I mean, at this point, pretty unlikely that they're going to be getting above $1, so we're probably going to be doing reverse splits. Maybe there's some spikes in that, but I think it looks, pretty risky, especially if it's a small contract. So personally, I'd try and find something a little better. And so FR is just saying, I'm just wondering if Terran Orbital, soon to be under Lockheed Martin's wing, will continue trading and chasing NASA or defense contracts. I'm not sure, and I don't really follow the defense companies and stuff. If people want, I'll come back to it later, but I need to catch up on some of the comments. But I could go over, Lockheed Martin chart and stuff and see about that. But yeah, I'm going to continue on with the other requests. And let's see. I've got MNTS and then the Iridium one. And so I'll delete that. MNTS. This, yeah, I mean, market cap 12 million. It does look like, I mean, looking at the RSI, or sorry, not the RSI, the MACD, this is like looking pretty red. I mean, the RSI could be coming lower to below 30. Now it's at 36.77. But it is above this low at 40.50. And so because it does have lower lows going back in time, we can see if connecting these two, if maybe this is finding some support at the base. So, you know, while I think this is pretty risky with it being so low, maybe there's something with this trend line. And so I'll just kind of, you know, go over, you know, so I just basically took the low from April 15th of this year, which is 35 cents. And then the other pivot point is the low over here from August 9th, which was 40.5 cents. And so, you know, bounced from there, you know, I guess over here, yeah, we got a wick a little bit below it there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but just going right below it there. And then over here, you know, tested that and then bounced from that. Take a measurement to the upside here. That went up 400%. So that was a pretty nice move. And it looks like we might be getting back to that trend line in, you know, really just like the low of yesterday, the 17th, was 44.94 cents. And so maybe if it goes back to around that level, maybe like 44 cents, that, and as long as it closes above this trend line, I mean, you can draw it on your own chart if you want. As long as it doesn't close below that uptrend, I think that it could be seeing maybe some more moves to the upside. And, you know, I think that that is supported potentially by this flipping to becoming less negative, going back to becoming green or positive green. And then, you know, see another nice move there. Like, you know, over here, when it tested that, this was still red. But the histogram, it says it was up negative 0.01. And now we're looking at negative 0.037. So, yeah, like, but over here, I mean, it was pretty negative, negative 0.027. And then it just kind of consolidated for a while. So it doesn't have to be like such a big move like that. But, I mean, you know, following this test, or, you know, really the formation of that, the beginning of that line, in a few days, it went up 57%, followed by 200% over the course of 45 days, like a month and a half. And then over the course of 130 days, so let's see, that's like 4 to 5 months, went up 482%. And so now pulling back from that, let's see, that's a drawdown, a pretty massive drawdown of about 79%. Yeah, I mean, so maybe it's getting around a level where it's a good dip buy again because it's at this trend line support, but maybe it breaks down after it. So I'd look for, I mean, I guess this is what I would do if I was going to get into this, and I don't plan on getting into it. You know, 44 cents, maybe, you know, 44 cents, maybe 45, because this is uptrending. Maybe that's a good level to establish a position. But then if it goes below 40.5 cents, cut losses. Stop loss at 40.5, because then that'd be putting in a lower low. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that there's like kind of like a nice, there's a pretty clear plan here. And I guess I can map it out, what I would do. You know, since there's this low over here and it hasn't come back to that line, I'd say, you know, that low is right there at 44.94. And so, oops, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to make a big green line right there. That would be my entry. And then my stop loss would be 40.5. Make that big and red. And so that's like what I would look for. And so from that, we can get an idea of, then you'd be risking, a 10% loss. That's a stop loss at 10%. And, if it does come down to there, maybe you're selling the bottom, but maybe not. And then it could continue down to the all-time lows. And that would be preventing, if this is 10% here, that would be preventing an additional 10%, that going down to 22, if not lower, a drawdown. So that's how I would trade that if I were to trade it, but I don't plan on it. So hopefully that's helpful. And then Iridium here, this one, let's see. I think this could be kind of like the same type of analysis. I'm going to try to go through this one a little quicker because I've been spending a little bit too much time on these. But yeah, so that looks like, retesting that line, getting up to it here. I could actually move this up. Let's see. I'll just move it to there because, while we did break below it over here, I didn't close below it. So I think that's still fine. And yeah, but then we've got downtrend from here. And I don't think it's broken out yet. I think it's gotten close to it. And you could draw this line a little bit differently, depending on what your pivot points are. I just drew it like this because this is an approximate touch right there. And if I were to, let's see, I think I locked it in place. If I were to draw it from here, from the high over here, so these two highs right there, that could make me think, oh, we broke out. But the reality is, this high was 28.33, and then the close here was 28.34. So, maybe that is a close above or a confirming close breaking above that level. But I just don't really see that level as being that significant. And then we see this 3.2% drawdown. And so I feel like the more conservative way to draw this is by moving this pivot point over to here. And so there, then it's like, okay, well, really like the first close above that level was yesterday. And then we put in this big topping wick, or this big wick that we need to, get a close above 28.89 to confirm that breakout. And instead we got to pull back. So one of the things I've been recognizing, I think in the LPSN live person video that I put out, I had called for it to break out, and it had broken out. I think it was on a Sunday night live stream, and then on Monday it broke out. But it didn't confirm, and it pulled right back. And so I think it's really important to wait for confirmation. Don't have it here. And so with that being said, I could be doing a retracement here, going from, that low to that high. And I could see it pulling back to 26.89. That's, corresponding with this consolidation here, the tops of those candles. Might be some nice support there. And it does also correspond with, the tops over here. So dip buys at 27, right around there, or 26.89 if you want to be specific with the 50% level. So that's what I would look for, I would wait for. But that doesn't even mean, it's going to stop there. It could be coming down to retest the base of this wedge. And that could be coming down to sub 26, maybe 25.50. So I'd wait for that. And then, see how it does at the bottom here. But yeah, I'd keep an eye on like 27, 26, and then 25.50 and see how it responds to those levels. So hopefully that was helpful. Add this here and then delete it. Oh, and did I do momentous? I did momentous, yeah. And I will add that to the degen ed list and delete it here. I got SoFi back up. And so, let's see. All right, hopefully everybody's still here. I'm just going to catch up on some of the requests. I'll try to add them back up. So Quoduo has a number of them, and so I might kind of bounce around between people because I feel like everybody's just waiting at this point. And so PFRX, I'm not seeing that ticker. WinT, Wind Tree, so I'll add them. FBLG, Biologics, and then my eyes are getting tired, sorry, VVOS. Vivos. Yeah, so I'll add those up there. And so Quoto is also saying that he's looking for a re-entry in VVOS. It has a solid run and retracement today. And so, yeah, I'll probably go over that one first just because you provided some info on it. And then NASCAR has requested PRTG. So I'll throw that up there. Also GLMD and TNON. And NASCAR follows up saying moves like PRG or TG and GLMD probably don't happen without TNON squeezing to 130 pre-market. So I'll have to look at those. Octa going to run. Let's see, Octo. Put that up there. And ChargePoint again, I've already done that. FFIE, I'll throw that up there. And oh, and so Quoto was saying, this is just a follow-up on Lunar. So L-U-N-R, is that right? Yeah. And so he is saying that eventually they do get filled, and the new gap on Lunar will get filled by next week. So, I feel like for me, I tend to be cautious with this stuff, and I don't want to, people are going to do what people want to do. And if people think that this might be going higher, the tops over here was not just like a one and done. But with that being said, over the course of a week, it did pull back. And so maybe this rallies to above 895 would be my argument. But I agree with Quoduo, whether it's next week or not, I'd caution on the side of at least, the gaps over here. So coming down to like 540 could definitely be getting filled within the next week because this is a volatile, seems unsustainable move to the upside. So good to be cautious with it. Definitely be exercising risk management. If, especially if, the average was down here at like $4, that's a 2x. Take half off the table, then there's no risk in losing money. Everything else that's left in is house money. If it does go higher, great. If it doesn't go higher, that's fine too. That's all profit what's in there. So I wouldn't worry about it. So a good way to manage that is, when it 2x's, take half off the table. That's like a rule of thumb. I personally am not really in many positions that go, or really ever in positions that go to 2x. I usually take profits before then by placing, limit sell orders. I'm not too exciting like that, but that's the way that I remove my emotion. Because whenever something goes, even if it's like, let's say I buy something. I don't know if this is a good example. Let's say I buy something and, it's like my goal is to get, a 20% gain, and, it stays flat for like 3 months. That's like, still, I just want 20%, no big deal. And let's say one day it rallies 100% and my limit order is filled. It's like, man, that sucks. I could have gotten 100%, but maybe it goes up to just 99% and doesn't get up to that exact level. And, so I think it's, whenever taking profits, the price is always going to be going higher than the price you sell at. And so it's good to not think about that stuff. So, Yeah, I think trimming's good. Good not to fall in love with the stocks you hold unless you want to really like invest in the company. But if you want to trade, if you want to make money, good to not fall in love. But I know we're all guilty of it. And let's see. Okay, I'm just catching up on these comments. And nameless, I will add Fastly for sure. And NASCAR's got some other quests, but since I already have NASCAR's requests up there, first request I might not add the new ones up just so I make some progress on what was previously requested. I need to drink some water. So Quoto had a comment on VVOS, so I'll pull that up. This is pretty nice. Up 47%, even though it's, pulled back so much. So, yeah, I mean, this I think is like a really nice example. If, even if the average is like, on the highs over here, let's say the tippy top there, this went up 100%. So, I mean, I'd imagine that if, this is going back to April, that, yeah, I mean, good to trim at, yeah, like I think this is a nice example of what I was just talking about. Like, this got to 99.66%. And so if there was a limit sell at $6, that wouldn't have been filled unless we look over at the, yep, I'm looking at the after hours time frame with the 4-hour chart, and the high was 595. It's another way they get you. They don't go to the whole dollar numbers that people probably have limit sells at or whatever. But let's see. I mean, I feel like what's going on with this? I don't know why I'm doing a horizontal line. I don't really like those. I'm just thinking like, maybe this is like a cup. We're going to see a handle or something being formed. And so Quoto's comment is, it had a solid run and retracement today. In at 330, out at 512. Congrats. I think it's a really nice example of taking it off the table, taking profits, not being greedy. And so 330 was like, let's see, what was the high here? The high from this day, so Quoto probably bought the top here. I'm just kidding. But the top there on the 10th happens to be 330. So I'm just going to use that for reference here. Going up to the top, could have been an 80% swing, but he got out at 512. Very nice. And so I'm just going to map that out right around to here. That's a 50%, 55% right around there swing. So congrats. Excellent trade. And yeah, let's see about a retracement. I feel like there are a couple ways that I could draw this. One could be from the all-time low here, or I don't know if that's all-time low, but 52-week low, I can say that at least, of 191, then going up to that high of 595. That did get a retracement to about the 50%, so right around $4. And let's see, and there's this gap here that was filled. And then the other way that I was thinking I could draw this is by moving this to just like the low here or over there. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like this is, again, not the kind of stuff that I trade. I'd be out of this position. I would not be chasing this. But if, to plan a re-entry, I'm just going to move that back to where it was. I feel like $4 seems like it could be a nice level to dip by. It's currently at 410 in the after hours, or how the after hours trading closed. But then the golden pocket, this seemed actually kind of compelling to me because there are these like wick highs over here that went to, let's see, 330 and like 328. And so the golden pocket's 332 to 345. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I mean, since you just made 50% on this, you can maybe establish, uh, with that like half the size of the position that you had before, around $4, and see if that runs. Um, and one thing that's actually kind of interesting about this is probably nothing, but I'm just looking at that and how it's not perfect, but maybe that's like an inverse head and shoulders pattern. And with that being said, we get the measurement here, and this is kind of a joke, that would suggest price is going to go up to um, 475, so above current price. So I mean that measured move has played out pretty crazy, if that is legit. But with that being said, I think that like right around $4, I mean it could consolidate here. I'd keep an eye on this trend line. So the way that I drew that is actually I might adjust that to here, or maybe that's more conservative. So I feel like if I make it lower over here. So, really just based on the high of June 12th, which was 261, and then the high of August 20th, which was 328. That's how I draw that trend line. And so I feel like that in conjunction with the Fibonacci retracement, 393 is the 50% retracement. And so really, I wouldn't want to see it pulling back to 350. To me, that would be breaking this trend line. That would not be so great. And so if it consolidates, like maybe it pulls back over the course of the next month, next 5 weeks, and it pulls back to like $4 or 395. I think that, could be finding some support there and then going up from there. So that seems most appealing to me, is a 5% pullback over the course of the next month, and then maybe a rally, going back to those highs. That's a 50% move right there. Maybe that'd take place over a couple weeks. So yeah, that's a cool chart. But yeah, I wonder how long, like if it would actually take this long. But I find that trend line compelling. So hopefully that's helpful. And see it gap filled. Oh yeah, so like here, yeah. Well, gap didn't get filled really because the close here was 280. So the low today was 302. So not all the way to filling that gap, but pretty close. And I think that, it's close enough. So yeah, I mean, I'm compelled by this though. That is why I can't take it serious. See, it can't fill this one. In intraday after I noticed the volume. And so yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. And then I'll probably move on to the next person's request, which is, let's see what I have here. Let's see. This is Quoto. Okay, and the NASCAR, PRTG. And so I think I'll probably be able to go over these quickly because I think they're just kind of like squeezes. Yeah, and so it's like what Quoto's talking about, this gap not filled. And so good to be cautious with it. But yeah, pretty nice move. And then lots of 4 a.m. runners recently. Yeah, so this is up 22% in the after hours, up 118% on the day. I'll switch over to the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, I guess what I would look at with this is, so this low here, I'd look for it to be respecting that trend line. And if it does hold, then I think that looks really good. If it doesn't, then let's see. I don't even know how to assess something like this. 2301. Let's see. Yeah, cool. That's lined up right. And that did. Oh, this is pretty cool though. I mean, it pulled back to the 618. So this could be setting up to be going on a run still. So I mean, it pulled back to, as long as it respects this uptrend, that's what I would be looking for. And if it breaks that uptrend, I feel like it's risk on at that point. But yeah, I think that looks pretty cool that it pulled back to the 618. So maybe there's something there for a continuation. So very cool. But I think at this point, very risky with it being up, 118% when looking at the daily chart. Yeah, because that trend line that I drew is just vertical because it's, not over the course of 2 days. So, but yeah, very cool chart. And disclosure crypto, I'm just going through the list. I'm kind of like going through on my way down, and I should be able to get to that in a little bit. I just got to go over some other tickers first. And let's see. So I've gone over some of NASCAR's. So PRTG. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to add this to the watch list there. Delete it here. And then let's see. GLMD. I'll probably try to end the stream in maybe about 20 minutes. That'd be about an hour and a half long stream just because I don't want to be talking too much, wearing myself out too much. Here, looking at the daily. This is down in the after hours after being down 50%. And so this is, I think, like a nice example of the risk of plays like this. Because, while it can go up 290%, dang. Anybody who bought up here at 2380, they're feeling the pain right now. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Gap down here, so the close from the 16th, 387. So yeah, I mean, this could be dropping 50% still. So yeah, and volume though, I mean, surge in volume here goes up, volume drops, and price drops. So this drop was not really supported by volume. And so if it was, a lot of selling, a lot of people selling this, the volume would be pretty high on this pullback. So maybe that there's another rally coming. But again, could be risky, may not get up to 2380. But I mean, maybe, this could, even just like to 100%, that's going up to like 14, right around less than 14. But then, this could be coming back down to fill that gap, and then that's a 44% risk there. So I don't know if that's worth it. That might be. But, maybe for like a 50% swing, that would be just getting up to like $10 or 10 to 11. So maybe there's something there. All right, and so I'm just checking the comments, making sure I'm not missing anything. So I'll add this to that, delete that here. And then the other one was Tenon. Oh, and actually before I do that, since I did go over this, and delete it just so I'm making progress on the list. Tenon. All right, so this is a pullback, kind of like the risk of that type of trade. These candles are all red. This, see, from the 52-week low of 35 cents. So we're not looking at that, but yeah, 52-week low. It says 52-week low, 35 cents. So it's probably non-adjusted. So I'm seeing 280 as the low, and so I'm just going to do a retracement from 280 up to 1579. And so maybe, I mean, yeah, so I feel like I'm being generous with it like this being down to 280, because if I adjust this to the lows over here, it's definitely below the 786. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like, maybe this is getting ready to rally and this is like a fake out break below the 786. But, I feel like this is below that level. So if there's a close below today's low, which is 480, and then that would be a to 480. That's basically like a risk of 9% to the downside. If there's a close lower than that, I think that's pretty risky. And maybe it closes 10% lower than that, then that's a 20% risk. But maybe this is a fake out break below that level, and then if we get a close above today's high, which was 575, so like at 576, that's an upside move of about 10%. And then that could be reclaiming not only the 786, which is at 558, but also, kind of getting back above the high from today. So that would be good. And then maybe that would suggest that a move would be coming. So I'd keep an eye out for a close lower than 480, and then that being a red flag, or a close higher than 575, and that would be like a yellow flag, or maybe a green flag. And right now it's yellow. I'm not sure. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. Many of these extreme gap up plays probably don't have options. Let's see. This one does not have options. That's true. Yeah. Which is, I feel like, kind of surprising. But I don't chase too many of these, but it is, interesting to go over them here. But yeah, I think that like those two levels, 480, no closes below it, ideally closes above 575, which could be suggesting that it's finding support at the 786, and today's close was just kind of a fake out break. And then it might be going for another rally. So that's what I look for. One thing that is kind of encouraging is that, well, I don't know, volume here increased. All of this volume is elevated. So, yeah, oh, sorry, that's not volume. Dang it. I'm looking at I probably screwed up some analysis looking at the MACD. But yeah, volume's been diminishing. So that could be suggesting that a bottom is in here right around the 786. So I actually think that's looking pretty good. That this could be, the RSI could be rallying again, the MACD. God, I'm an idiot. Could be going up again, but it is pretty, pretty high. But when it has gone up high in the past, there have been like multi rallies. So maybe there's something else coming. I'm kind of compelled by this. I don't plan on establishing a position. Again, 480 and 575, I think, are pretty important levels. So, hopefully, I say that a lot whenever I'm done with something. I think that's my way of saying, I don't know that I have much more to add. I know other people want me to go over other stocks. So hopefully that's helpful, because I've got to move on. And let's see. All right, I'm just checking on the list. Okay, I've gone over those. Octo from Nick. So check out Octo. So Octo's up 17% today. Excuse me. Yeah, this did just flip to the green as far as the MACD goes. Volume's increasing as it's moving higher. And yeah, and then as like over here, volume kind of spiked up. That was around a reverse split, 1 for 5. But then volume kind of faded as it was going higher. And then so that's like, okay, well, volume's fading as it's going higher. It's probably going to pull back. And then now volume's increasing. And so, yeah, I could see this running. That also does kind of have like a double bottom here. So I feel like, kind of like a line in the sand is, like that trend line. Don't want to see any price coming back to that. And yeah, I mean, so I think a way that I could do this, just a retracement from here to the low there. And I need to add the 1618. And I'll change this to the 2. And so looking at that, I mean, we got this kind of like the same type of thing over here where there's a trend line there. That kind of converges with that 1618. So I could see this going from current price around 210 up to 237. That's like almost 13%. Not super exciting, but I could see it going there. And from there, I mean, I guess I'll kind of draw what I could see this doing. And it's probably not super exciting. I mean, because maybe this could really, go for a big rally to the upside. I went for a little hike today, so I keep checking my arm to see if there's like a tick or something. I've had them on me before, and so I get a little paranoid. But nothing, just a little itch. Yeah, so how I would draw this, let's see. I would go to this drawing tool. And so I could see it going something like this, bumping into some resistance there, and then pulling back, finding support here. And you notice where the cursor is, it doesn't just extend back to like the high of that like W there, where it says 197, but it also extends further over. And so that does seem like, there's some consolidation there that could be acting as support. And then from this pullback, it then goes and breaks out above like that. And yeah, so, I mean, I feel like that seems pretty reasonable to me. And, just like the consolidation over here, that matches up with also $2 just being like a psychological level. And so, yeah, I mean, I could definitely, just because there are these two, 1618, take it with a grain of salt if you don't believe in Fibonacci's like that or as much. I think you could definitely take that with a grain of salt. But I've definitely seen 1618s, 2618s acting as support or resistance. So I could see that. And then also with this here, this trend line, that makes sense to me. And then a pullback to here makes sense again. And then also, let's make the assumption that we got a trend line from here to, let's see if I can get that just right, almost, just about, and so I'll make that yellow, and then that pullback will be to the 382, which is pretty cool. That lines up, basically exactly with that high there. So yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to clean this up so I don't have all of these lines, because I don't need all of them. And so really, I just need, let's see, the 100 and those two to the upside. And then for this one, I only really need, let's see, I'm going to actually adjust the 237. I'm going to make that a 2. And then, yeah, then the 382 matches exactly, so that's pretty cool. But let's see. The 0% and the 382. So this is my argument for this one. Oops, scrolling through the news there. And I could actually extend this arrow up to $3. I should have thought of that when I was drawing it. But yeah, I mean, I think that this looks really, really cool. But I could definitely see a pullback around 240, somewhere around there, and then a retest of 2, and then a continuation higher. And this is something that, um, let's see, Gareth Soloway's talked about. It's like an MV and, or wait, no, it's a WVMA. Um, and so that I can just draw it out for you guys. That's like you have, a W here. Wait a second. Sorry. It's like you got a W here. And then following the formation of that W, you get a pullback of V. And then once that V is formed, it goes higher. So yeah, I might actually make that the line that I like. So that's what I see happening with that. Very, very cool chart. And what I might do is I might create an alert for myself, which I've been getting some alerts lately, and I haven't been paying attention to them. And so I am going to adjust this alert to be at $2. So if this goes below $2, and so that would basically be, if it goes up to here, that's great. But I am not interested in this at this point for a 13% swing. Maybe I'm wrong, and again, maybe I'm wrong, but it's already up over the past 5 trading days, about 60%. So it's already kind of taken off, and maybe it's double top resistance here or something. And so, but then if it were to go up here and then pull back to 2, and I look at the chart, in a couple weeks or on October 8th, and it's like, wow, this did the exact same pattern that I've drawn up here, then I'd be like, maybe it's time to go long at 2 here, and then that would be a, 50% swing. So that's pretty compelling. And so I've got this all mapped out up here, and so I'll let you guys know if I get an alert on this, and then that's maybe a potential very nice 50% swing over the course of 9 trading days. I doubt it would be that quick. It would probably, take that much time. But that's a month, so that's pretty nice. So, yep, and I'm actually going to leave that there so I know what to look at when I see this in a month, or a couple weeks, a few weeks. So, yeah, very cool chart. I appreciate that. I enjoyed it. And just catching up on the comments. And so I'm not sure what the handle is that requested this, but FFIE is next, and I am going to add this one to the watch list, though, before I delete it. And so FFIE, I am actually going to clear the chart because I think they had a reverse split, and so all those lines that I had up there were probably screwed up. And so what we can do for this one, I'm just going to add these levels back to this. And I'm going to delete that. I just like to have the lines up there. So here from this low, 267, up to the high of 1140. We have broken the 786. Maybe there's a double bottom, right around where it's at now. I'll make it orange. I'm not sure why. Yeah, so maybe there's something with that, I guess. One thing that is maybe a little bit discouraging about this is, if I connect this low to the lows over here, it broke below that uptrend. And so there was, higher lows. Now, if I look at the chart, this is a lower low, not a lower ho. A lower low at 325, whereas the lows over here were 345 and 343. So that doesn't look so great. And so I could see a full retracement, which would be coming down to 267. And it could potentially be going lower than that. And the reason why, I mean, like, here it pulled back and, you know, um, bounced here. But then it's just, it's now coming lower. So I just think yeah, I think this one looks a little rough. So yeah, I mean, I'd say it might be coming down to 267 because it's broken below this trend line. And I mean, maybe it's, let's see, what was the low for today? 325. Maybe 325 is a good stop loss level. And so I will put a red line there. And I'll actually make this one not so thick so it's not so obnoxious. But yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see, it pull back to the yellow, find that as support, did not do that. Then I'd like to see it not make a lower low, which is the orange line. It did do that. And so now I mean, it didn't close below that level though, so this could be a fake out lower low, sweeping anybody out who had stop losses at 343 or maybe 340. They got moved out of their positions, and this could have just been a fake out. So yeah, and it is a green candle. It is a green bullish engulfing candle there. So I would say that this could be the bottom and that it could be rallying here. Let's say I'm going to do another Fibonacci. And, this one, I'm actually just going to delete it because there's nothing really to it. And so I might actually just, that line at 267, I'm going to make that one purple. And that is like the GTFO, level. But really, I mean, I think 325 is. But just showing, that the bottom's there. And so I'm going to do another retracement, but this side from the top here to the bottom here. And so I could see this going up. Let's not be too greedy. Going up to the 50%, let's say. And so from current price, right around current price, going up to the 50%, that's an 86% move to the upside. Getting to the 382, that's around 630. I mean, even just getting up to like $5, that's 30%. But yeah, I mean, I think that this could be going a golden pocket here. It's around 100%. So yeah, maybe there's some potential there, but I would say because this has broken below the 786, because it has formed a lower low, I would say if this is a bottom, if this was sweeping the lows, I don't think it's going to go lower than 325. But if it does, I think you could be going at 267. And so 325, it seems to me like a good stop loss level because that would be preventing further loss of like 18%. So hopefully that's helpful. I don't really do too much with stop losses, largely because, I start with small positions and then I average them in. But if I were to do something like this, where it's a trade, like let's say I want it to take place over the course of a week, and then I would have a stop loss at 325 for FFIE. But yeah, I mean, this could be, big move and then fade. So yeah, I mean, I think that this is risky regardless. 1 for 40, that's a pretty massive reverse split. But yeah, I mean, hopefully that's helpful. I think it's pretty interesting, to think about this kind of like psychologically and hitting those levels. So yeah, neat. And okay, I got a bunch of follow-ups from NASCAR, so I'll have to check those in a minute. And I'm just trying to make my way through this because I have been streaming for an hour and a half. And my eyes are tired, and my voice could probably use a break. And so let's see. Okay, yeah, so Nameless, I'm not sure if you're still here because you commented like an hour ago. I'm sorry it took so long. But I will go over fastly. Wow. Congrats, man. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I know you were asking about this a while ago, probably over here. So, I mean, it makes sense that there'd be some resistance here because that was the low over here, gap here. And so that is from the lows here up 33%. So pretty nice. I mean, this isn't necessarily like a clear topping signal or anything. I mean, if we look at the MACD, yesterday it was 0.198. Today it's 0.1997. So it's still higher. So it hasn't topped yet. I was thinking it looked a little bit lower, but it's just, I guess, like you can think of this as, while it has increased, the increases have been diminishing between the days for the MACD. So this could be settling out because of that. But yeah, let's see. What did I have? What levels did I have from this one? 1618. Hit the 1618. So Nameless, I hope you're still here. If you're not, I imagine you're not. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think moving forward for these streams, one ticker request. If you request two tickers, if you request more than one ticker, I'm going to skip you just because people get left out and it's not fair. So, and then that just keeps the chat going. So that will be the new rule for streams. One ticker only at a time. And so, yeah. And with that being said, I'm probably going to wind this down after because I can't be keeping up with all these multi-ticker requests. Sorry, guys. So let's see. I'm going to omit all of these and leave that one there. I'm going to delete all of this other crap because it's just too much stuff. And let's see. Okay, so I got that retracement there. Yeah, I mean, I could see this pulling back to 673, finding support there, hopefully, and then going higher. And so that's what I would look for. I'd look for a pullback to 673, find that as support, and then bounce to potentially, whether that's to go to the 2618, which would be at like 846, and then be kind of like a double top up here. Yeah, so I mean, what I could see with this, let's see, maybe there's something there. That wasn't really too significant in the past, so I'm just going to delete that. Yeah, especially, I mean, there's this yellow line here, 715. That goes back to the low over here, 715. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty interesting that it did come up to that level. And so, kind of like what I had just drawn, what I could see happening with this is like, this is the W, and then get a pullback to the peak of the W, and then this goes up to 846. So that is what I could see happening. And, maybe not in this time frame, though, Man. I'm going to have to check my body for ticks. I'm scared. But yeah, so there's that. And let's see. And so, Quoto, I appreciate that you understand. Yeah, just because I got a bunch of multi-ticker requests. It's not just you and NASCAR, right? It's like Nameless frequently asks for multi-ticker, so I'm sure he understands if he wasn't able to appreciate this analysis of Fastly. But I feel like I just got to set that rule out because then, it's like, let's say somebody requests 3 tickers and it's like, okay, well, I'll go with the first one. But then that person's like, oh, well, I actually was more interested in the second one. And then, it comes, makes it more complicated. So I'll probably, like, if I get multi-ticker requests, I'll just skip over until that person then, requests one so I know which one to go over. Because, yeah, I mean, I can take 10 minutes on a chart, and then if I have 5 charts ahead of you, 5 requests ahead of you, you're waiting for 50 minutes. That's kind of a long time. So, but yeah, and then also like all of this stuff that you guys have been chatting about. Hopefully, it's between you, Quoto, and NASCAR. Hopefully, you guys are able to have a productive exchange in the chat because I can't keep up with you guys. And let's see. So I did Nameless Fastly. And so I got these other tickers up here. I'm not sure where they came from. Maybe the person left. Yeah, and then so I was just seeing your most recent comment, NASCAR. No problem. A lot of my comments that make look at past history and just mention the tickers that have moved recently, but often the play is over. I just like looking for sympathy names. Yeah. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, and so in the future, like you could be like, if there is a request, it could be like, I'm interested in this one, comparing it to whatever move happened in the past, um, as far as like keeping this streamlined. But let's see, have I gone over this one? I haven't gone. Okay, so there are two that are up here that I've not gone over yet. FBLG. I'm not sure who requested this, but this looks like a cup and handle. It's, I mean, I guess not really that perfect because this is, like slanted, but that looks to me like cup and handle. And what I could see, trying to like interpret the MACD, also like the RSI is below 70, it went up to it and then cooled off. So it could be going up again. Okay, Quoto, cool, yeah, yeah. So FBLG, yeah, I mean, this looks like cup and handle. And I mean, you could even make the argument that it's like inverse head and shoulders. But I feel like inverse head and shoulders, cup and handles, my impression of them, and I might be wrong about this, is you can just do the same type of measured move from there to there. And so, let's say there's a breakout around the 25th. Let's see, what's sometime this coming week or next week. I'm not working this week, so I feel like it's Sunday, but it's Wednesday. And so let's say on the 25th, so like, is that Wednesday of next week? Yep, that'd be Wednesday of next week. That would represent, from here to here. Let's see. I'm just gonna, yeah, so from there to there, that's 375%. But then moving from this break, that's 100% going up to $8. So, I don't know that it would be, going up there so straight, maybe it'd take this amount of time. But yeah, I mean, I think that this, but at the same time, I think that's very, very important is to not assume this is going to happen. Just because, I drew a line here, and just because this looks like, oh, it's either an very ugly inverse head and shoulders or, just a cup and handle, it has not broken. And so what it needs to do is it needs to get a close above this uptrend or downtrend and then get a secondary close above it. My understanding is that would be confirmation. And so I'd really just look for a close above the high that was hit on the 11th, which was 441. So that to me is, if there's a close above 441, I think that could then be going up to do this measured move. And I'll actually just do, for going from there to this break, or, like that's a, straight line up there. And then let's see if I get it, let's say it around then. That's still, a 90% move. That would maybe be complete by the end of October. So I think that looks like a really cool chart. They're holding the weekly support, and consistent volume is the reason I decided to buy them. And consistent volume, yeah. So yeah, nice big volume here, and then the volume's just been kind of flat as it's been consolidating here. This is where I get a little bit mixed up with volume because there's not much volume here, but it is holding, so that's good. And so that's like, see the lowest open, right? The lowest close was 316, I believe, which was, yeah, on the 12th. And then the highest close was up here. That was 427. But then there are all these wicks. And so that's a little bit concerning that there are all these wicks. So I would say maybe that is getting a close above 342, which was the close on 9/11. Getting a close above that, I think, would be good because it's just, a bunch of wicks to the upside. So I feel like those are kind of, as far as closes go, these are some lines in the sand that I think would be good. Closing below 316, I think would not be so great, but really, this could be coming down to like the low from this wick was 273. The high up here, 414. So yeah, I mean, I'd be looking for closes above or below these levels. That would just be like kind of a shift in momentum. And if that move is backed by an increase in volume, then I think that move could potentially be continuing. So good to be cautious with that. But yeah, I mean, I think it looks really compelling following that pullback. Oh, and I guess one thing that I can do is Fibonacci retracement and see, where it's pulled back to. 236, 382, 382. It's holding that, so I think that's pretty good. So I mean, hopefully those are some levels that are useful. The daily volume, quote was saying, if the daily volume is at or above the average volume, is considered good volume. Daily volume is at or above the average volume is considered good volume. And so like good volume would be like suggesting continuation or that momentum is behind it. Like if it's increased volume, man, my hair's freaking me out because it keeps like hitting my neck and I'm worried it's a bug. Yeah, sorry. And so if like volumes increased and prices coming down, that would suggest that it's good as in continuing in that direction. If volume is increased and prices going up, then it suggests continuation in that direction, good volume. So yeah, so I mean, volume is like, it's been pretty flat since here. Yeah, like, so it's like increased volume and then it's come down some. And then now it's just like pretty flat here. So yeah, I mean, I think that this could be, aside from my volume analysis not being that great, because I'm not that great at it, I think the pullback in the RSI looks good. I think the way that the MACD has moved in the past with like this having like kind of like, seems like there's multiple, and it's tough to see. I'd have to really expand this. Maybe I want to do that. But yeah, it's like there's, a little hump here and kind of cools off, bigger hump. So it's like very wavy in the way that MACD moves. And so, I mean, this looks very similar to this in that, you have wah, and then it's still green up again. So in this over here, lots of waves there. So I'm going to move this back down and zoom in. Yeah, so I mean, I think that this could be going for another rally. Like this was not, yeah, that was the high there, yes. I mean, but with that being said, even if it just went up to the high there, that's a 36% move, 35% move to the peak there. So I think that looks really good. Lots of things good about it. Whether that's for a short term, like 30% move, or for something longer term like this. So yeah, cool. Leader 42, I was just about to end the stream, but I can go over NVIDIA real quick. And I guess Windtree, who requested Windtree? I can do that as well, but I'll go over NVIDIA real quick as well. So this one, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the videos that I put out on it recently. Yeah, I mean, I to be honest, haven't looked at it. I have short position on semiconductors, SOXS, which I'm like really not that aggressive with. It's just kind of like hedging for if the market does roll over. And so I'm not like aggressively short NVIDIA, like, or specifically, just generally with semiconductors, just because, you know, they seem very overextended. And I had made the recent video about this going up to, let's see, I think in the most recent video, I kind of like I had suggested previously that I thought it'd be going up to 21, like 115 or 121. But that was based on the retracements going to, you know, from the bottom to the top. So that would suggest a retracement to the downside. But of course, looking to the upside, we want a retracement going from top to bottom to retrace to the top, finding resistance. And yeah, I mean, like I nailed that. So, you know, right around 120. And, you know, I think that, I don't know, because like I haven't been trading long enough, or at least have not been so active in trading, in experiencing like rate cuts like this. So I don't really know what's going to happen. My understanding is that, and you know, just looking at the chart, some things are overextended, and this could be, you know, the semiconductor bubble. And so I mean, at this point, I could do, because it does seem like, you know, pretty clear there's a retracement there, or that we've hit a top here. It's 109.94, and so I kind of just want to put them all up here, and I'll color them differently. And let's see, so there's that. I don't need to make that thicker, but I will make it, I like light blue. It's soothing. So like the golden pocket for this, and the reason why I'm saying the golden pocket, I don't know if this is like a statistics thing, or it just, or if it's like a not necessarily emotional, like a psychological thing. You know, so I've got this retracement here, and we pulled back to that golden pocket. We didn't come all the way down to the 786. We did pull back lower than the 65% retracement. So the golden pocket is the 618 or 61.8% retracement, and the 65% retracement, that's the golden pocket. And so we did pull back to that, and then on the way up, we did pull up to the golden pocket again, and we did not get to the 786. And so kind of, you know, with that mindset, that mentality, I would think that we might be pulling back to the golden pocket again. So I'm just going to omit all of the levels here that are above the golden pocket. So that's the 236, 382, and 50%. And then so we're looking at the golden pocket being right around 108. And so if it pulls back to 108, that would be kind of like a repeat of this pattern that we've been seeing, pulling back to the golden pocket. If it goes lower than that, though, the 786, let's see, is at 105. And that would correspond with effectively like, you know, a double bottom here that could correspond with testing the base of this channel again. But maybe that would be a break of it, as we have tested it a number of times. This is something that Gareth Soloway's talked about. I have learned a lot of analysis from just watching his channels. I don't pay for subscriptions or anything, but he's talked about, and I'm going to have to end the stream very soon because my voice is getting lost. But when you have a line, a level that's tested multiple times, you tend to see it eventually break. And so what we have here, this is a very rough drawing of a head and shoulders pattern, because, you know, really I'd want to adjust this line to be the pivot low here. So I didn't do that. But just, you know, based around that parallel channel, got this head and shoulders pattern. And then what you tend to get from, listening to Gareth Soloway is that, you'll get a test of this but then you don't get a break for that head and shoulders pattern. Instead, you kind of get another kind of feeble bounce, a very small bounce. And then that is what leads to breaking this level. And maybe it could be coming down to the low over here. So that's, let's see, something to consider. That's around 90.69. Or maybe it comes down to around 100 if it breaks that. And then maybe it could bounce. Yeah, so I mean, to continue the kind of drawing of this, I see kind of two scenarios. I guess I see three scenarios. One is that it bounces from the 786, the golden pocket. And so, yeah, I guess I'll do this in rainbow colors. So like one scenario, which I guess maybe I don't want to do it like this. I guess I'll do like the different scenarios. One is that it comes down to around that golden pocket and bounces as it has before, and then goes up to the next golden pocket level, which I don't really find this to be that compelling because it's, not really much of a reward, considering where the current price is. And so let's say that's, one option. Let's say another option is it pulls back to the 786, and then that's like a double bottom. We get the same kind of thing that we've seen here with another bounce. And so let's see, going like that, breaking below the channel a little bit and then bouncing. But then I would see it being weaker and then it kind of going like that. So that's another option. Make that thick. I'll make that one green. So those are both kind of like the not so bad scenarios. And then other ones that I could see is this coming down. Well, it's not going to be straight down. So coming down and then bouncing from around 100, but then getting rejected from that channel and then coming down. So I could see that happening. And that's going to be, actually, I should make that orange. I should make this one yellow. And this one, I guess green, but it's kind of like too hopeful in my view. And then the other option is, something like this, and then it goes back up there, and then it goes down. So, and that would be the red. That would be the worst case scenario. So I don't know if that's helpful. But I feel like, there's still hope that this could be bouncing. But, if I do a retracement from the top here, and then assuming it goes down to 107.81, so that's a little bit lower than the golden pocket. The golden pocket bounce would be getting back to like 115, 116. So I don't know, is that really worth it? Obviously I'm like a little bit bearish on this. But maybe, let's say I remove my drawings. Maybe this is a bull flag. It could be. But I just think, we've been seeing these lower highs and these bounces have just been getting smaller. So I think that, I think that it could be breaking lower. Oh, thanks, Quoto. I don't know what Quoto's saying. Great analysis too. But I just think this is, and to be honest, I have not experienced tops in markets like this. I have not experienced something like Nvidia before. And I've been short semiconductors all year. I have made money on them, both in open and closed positions. But I could be surprised. This could be a fake out. I feel like, just like not only do we get the FOMC meeting, but we also have to then digest that. And that could take a week or two. the markets to digest that. And so, but yeah, I feel like I hear a lot about people buying the dip on this stuff. And from, buying the dip has, worked in all of NVIDIA's history, until, buying this dip. Buying this dip worked because it went up. Buying this dip worked because it went up. Buying this dip, but then, buying this dip, it went up, but then it went lower, and now we're trading lower than that. So like buying these dips really hasn't worked if one was not selling the rips. And I've heard a lot of sentiment that it's buying the dips for the long term. I want to have X number of NVIDIA shares, and it's like having X number of NVIDIA shares over here when it's consolidating, that's great. You're up, 170%. But up here, in my view, it's going to be down at $50 a share a year from now. And maybe I'll be wrong, but maybe I'll be right. And I don't think it's worth that kind of risk. Because, yeah, an example is Cisco. Cisco Systems. So this one, I believe, comparing it to the .com bubble. And, it's up 50. But we go back on the weekly time scale, maybe monthly time scale. This was the .com bubble. And, look at this pattern. This is on the monthly time scale. I got to pull up the chart of the emotions or whatever. Stock market psychology. So this chart, I've gone over this in the AMC video a couple times. But yeah, this is, euphoria up here, pullback, consolidation, complacency. Okay. And so, we see that with Cisco. Euphoria, pullback, consolidation, complacency, and then drop down. And what do we see with NVIDIA? We're not, as far along. This is looking at the monthly, but looking at this on the daily, I don't know. It's not as picture perfect. But, I think we're in this stage of it. Probably in the euphoria stage still. But, it's a high here. This is a pullback. Consolidation. But really, I think that this could take, months to be really pulling back. It could take years to be pulling back. And, yeah, just from, it's got all my drawings now, but yeah, from there to there, 35% drawdown. And yeah, so I feel like just be careful with it. It's not always going to be a winner. And, especially I think I went over this in the NVIDIA, yeah, because I was talking about how he's signing the woman's chest. But Jensen's been selling shares and like very, very consistently. So, yeah, like all of this time, he's been selling shares, like going back to June. So he's been selling shares in this top. That's not a good sign. So for swing, I think that as far as this goes, any potential swing would be from a dip buy down here to going back up to around current price. But maybe the FOMC stuff, maybe that gets digested over the next couple of weeks and we see a rally and we test the top of this downtrend. So, yeah, that's like, I don't want to, like euphoria, it's like a drug, dopamine, whatever. I don't want to take that away from people, but I think I've got more lines suggesting downside. Yeah, I guess, in all fairness, I could draw one that's like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. And then I think, this is the if I'm wrong line. And if I'm very wrong, that would be like this. And so these are, I said I was going to do rainbow. I got it. These are the scenarios. I think overall there are more bearish ones. So yeah, that was fun. So I appreciate the request. And I'm wondering if we can hold 112 for close this week. Let's see. I am going to omit or hide my drawings, not omit. But let's see. Holding the close of 112. So let's see, what was the close of last week? The close was 119. This close was 102.82. Let's see. Something interesting. There is this uptrend. If I click the thing to draw, it will clutter the chart with all of my other drawings. But you can see it. There's this uptrend here. Maybe I need to add, yes, this here. I need to clean up my drawing. Okay, so this is based on these lows, and that I'm just gonna make that line thick. I think we need to be keeping weekly closes above that uptrend. That would be a pretty notable break, I would say. And for this week, 105, or yeah, about 105. Am I reading that right? Yeah, 105 or 106. So as far as closing this week above 112, oh, another thing, this is, I don't know, me just being a bear. It's not like I like being bearish. I just feel like it's easier to, I'd rather be cautious. And so that is, I guess why I feel like I come across as fairly bearish. But here, the low from this Friday last week. Yeah, so last week's close. No, what? Okay, so this is Monday, sorry. I, again, don't really know what day it is. It's Wednesday. 16th, we hit a low of 114.36, and we closed today below that. So that doesn't look so good. So I think it'd actually be good to be getting a close above that low for the week. But, I mean, this is, so what we have here is this is not a shooting star, but is that this doji. That's, let's see, a shooting star, rising star, shooting star pattern. What is that? Okay, so not a shooting star. I want to look at the rising star, I believe. Or no, this evening star. Evening star is what I want. Evening star. So evening star, yes, that's what we're looking at. Although we don't have, this follow-up to it. Let's see, I don't know what rising star is. Oh, no, that's nothing. But yeah, I mean, we've got, up moves and then this doji here. That suggests, it doesn't necessarily suggest reversal, but it suggests like indecision. We have seen that reversal from that. Kind of got, maybe it's going to go the other way. Nope, then we get a bearish engulfing candle here. And then we just continue to go lower, closing then lower than this low for the week. And so, yeah, it just looks like it's in this downtrend right now. Maybe that could be breaking to the upside. But, if we're looking at, let's just look at the MACD. This has been, in this kind of steady grind up. MACD wasn't too crazy, just kind of steadily going up, then consolidates here, gets red, and then a more steep grind up, gets really green, when it's getting to those all-time highs, pretty green there. Then we start to see it, getting pretty aggressive red. A nice, aggressive, but short-lived rebound there. And then these are just kind of getting tighter and tighter. The bounces are shorter lived. And so with this, I mean, it's bounced to be green, but look, it's barely gotten green. Like over here, almost 3, for the histogram. I don't know if you can see those numbers, but, pretty green there. Then here, pretty red, coming down -2.5. And then here it's green, following this bounce. It's going to turn red again. The most green it got over here was 0.3. It's looking pretty weak. Yeah, so, I mean, there's no bearish divergence, though, because it's been, lower highs in the RSI. So maybe there's that. Maybe one can argue that, like, this MACD is, like, coiling up, so it's getting ready to spring, I don't know. Like, I'm not really still pretty new at interpreting the MACD, but, as it's, like, going higher, it's just getting bigger and bigger upside. And then now it just seems like it's kind of like coiling, and then it's either going to launch up or launch down. I feel like it's more likely to launch down. But yeah. So hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, I'm totally losing my voice though, so I'm going to sign off. Wind tree. I'm sorry I didn't check this one out. But this one, I think it looks like it's pulled back a lot of those gains. It looks kind of risky. So good to be careful with it. But yeah, I've been streaming for over 2 hours now, so I'm going to wind it down. I will close on Fastly because I think this is just a really cool chart. Congrats to Nameless. If you're watching this after the stream, I'm sorry I didn't get to it earlier, but I think it looks really good. So yeah, thank you all for joining. And if you're new to the channel, which I imagine most of you are regular subscribers, but if not, make sure you like the stream. It's fun to do these. It's also a lot of work, especially when I'm having a tough time getting over a cold. And make sure you subscribe. I try to do these streams once a week. I'm sorry I skipped Sunday, but I feel like tonight was like kind of a nice night to do it after the FOMC. And yeah, I'll be streaming again Sunday. Might not be able to do it for 2 hours long because I got work the next day. But yeah, I'll be putting out some more videos. I got a request to follow up on Unity software, which I'm pretty stoked about. That's one that was just beautiful chart that I picked my level and it didn't come to my level, so I got left behind. So that sucks, but I didn't want to chase. I saw a lot of unusual whale stuff, people posting about it, and it's like it's already run, so I sat it out. One that I am thinking about partaking in is I just put out a video on SoFi, how there are a number of topping signals with it, and this I'm not always like really moved by my analysis. Like sometimes it's just like sometimes it's just like cough. Sometimes it's just like it could go this way, it could go that way. Good to prepare for both sides. SoFi, I feel pretty confident that this is pulling back and could be pulling back to $7 a share. So I might actually, if you guys are curious, I'll end the stream just going over some SoFi stuff. Kind of, I haven't placed any orders, but I am intrigued to buy some puts. And so my rationale for that is basically in the video that I just put out. I recommend it if you haven't seen it. I talk about a number of factors why I think it looks bearish. And so, I could see this coming down to easily $8 a share. That's no problem. But I could see it coming down to $7 a share. And so let's see, there's one options expiration. I think it's the 20. When is it in October? It's the 18th in October. So here, so there's that. And then there's also coming down this time frame. Oop, not that long. I think it's November 15th. Yeah, is the monthly contracts there. Coming down to around $7. And actually, I should move these up a little bit. And so, yeah, I am intrigued by both of these. I'm just going to color this one light blue so I can tell them apart. And so, yeah, I'm intrigued by this coming down to $7 a share, which I don't think is that aggressive. And so I need to end this soon because of my voice. But just thinking about, puts with strikes of $8, and strikes is $7. And thinking about this on the monthly contract time frame. So the next monthly contract, because we're expiring this month, September 20th, this coming Friday. So the next month is October 18th, and then the following month is November 15th. Yeah, I got that right. So that's like the light blue square here, and then the white square here. And so that's kind of the time frame. I think that seems totally reasonable. And so I'm interested in buying some puts. And, I think that there are some nice options with these. So I'm just going to look at puts, and I'm only going to look at the monthly contracts. So maybe I'm not used to filtering them out. Weekly. Standard, non-standard. Okay, so I think that's... Okay, yeah, these are only the monthlies. So I can look at October puts, strike of $8. I think this is like totally reasonable. For like, so 39 cents to buy per contract. So that's like $39, so $40 risking, and price is $8.11. In the after hours, it's $8.20. So I feel like that's totally reasonable risk to have a month for price to come down 11 cents. Although, with that, we're looking at the theta decay. That's like about a penny a day. So maybe there's something with that to consider. But then 7, that's 11 cents or $11 per contract. Theta decay on that is even less. So that's like, I don't know. I think that's intriguing. So I'm intrigued in both of those. This coming down to 8, that seems totally reasonable. But would that premium be going up enough? It'd have to like really have a volatile move to the downside. But then also looking at November 15th, 8 strike. To me, this one, $70, risking $70 on it, coming down to 8. It's already basically at 8. That seems like not that bad, but it's just like this is giving it 2 months, not 1 month. And so giving it 2 months, I could see it coming down to 7. And so this being 30 cents, $30 per contract. So I'm intrigued in getting one contract with the $7 strike that expires in November. And I'm also interested in getting one contract for October that expires with a strike of 8. It's $40. I'll be risking $40 on that. And then I'd be interested in getting maybe a few, maybe one, and then have limit buys if it dips a little bit. Get a few contracts. And then for me, what I've been doing with contracts is I have been setting limit sells for 20%. And I think that there's a really nice example for why it's good to do that, depending on how you want to trade. And so I am going to actually flip over to calls and look up lift, because I just recently traded a contract. Let's see, I need to see. I'm just looking it up on my phone. I closed out my position on it. It was just one contract. And so I'm just going to pull it up on my phone, and I'll show you guys on the screen. It was the October 18th expiration. And so this was a call for lift with a $13 strike. So right here. And, to sell that, it would be 52 cents or $52. I bought one of these contracts yesterday for $58, and 20% of that was 70 cents, or 58 cents, so $58. And then I had a limit sell at 70 cents. That got filled today. I closed it out. I made 20%. What was the high for the day? I'm actually going to flip over to contract lookup. Let's look up lift over here. And so I'm going to do the $13 call for this one. Okay. And so we can see what happened. Let's see with this contract. It's here. Okay. Over the past 7 days, let's just look at it the past 2 days. And so, basically there's this alert, 58 cents buy. And I mean, maybe this is still a good trade. And I just took 20% profit and could re-enter because it hasn't shown a lot of selling or anything here. It's just been like a lot of buy-ins. So just like looking at today, ask volume over 2,000 contracts, bid. So that's going to be largely on the sell side in the mid here, less than 500 total there. And so 2,000 contracts being bought. And the open interest is 7,000. Volume today, majority of that being buying. Let's say this is going up to 9,500 tomorrow. This is increasing, so there are more and more contracts. Granted, not all of them are going to close in the money. Not all of them are going to be held to expiration and make money. Or if they are held to expiration, they might lose money. But so, just looking at this from, this 2-day perspective, I entered here. What did I sell at? I sold at 70 because I was 20%. I felt like, that's worth the risk. What was the high today? We scroll down here. The high was 71 cents. So I think that's a really nice example of why it's good to take profits in these. And this is now, trading, at the lows. 53, the low is 52. So, this could be reestablished, re-picked up. And, maybe make some money with it. But I feel like when doing that, when, going in and out of trades, it could get kind of risky, But yeah, I mean, this could be picked up again. I'm kind of intrigued by this now. So, yeah, it's on my list here. But yeah, looking at SoFi, I don't know if people are tuning in anymore to this, but, I'm just doing this for myself at this point. So looking at this open interest for $7 month from now on the put, open interest is 15,000. $7 for November 15th. Open interest is 25,000, over 25,000. And ask bid, about the same for the day here. Ask, a little bit more asks on the day. SoFi here, a little bit more on the asks. A little bit more on the asks here as well. And, more on the ask side. So, yeah, I mean, I think that all of these, I'm really intrigued by them. And I think this, let's see. SoFi overview. I need to, options volume, call volume. Let's see, net premium. Oh, okay, I've seen some of these charts online. So it's like net call premium's been coming down. And so with that being said, net put premium's been going up, and that's the trend you want to ride, man. The trend is your friend. And so this is for 1 day though. So let's look at the past 3 days. Yeah, I mean, this is like, really kind of topped in the call premium. And so, yeah, I'm totally going to be buying some puts on SoFi. I'm sorry if that offends you, but that's just the way it is. Yeah, so with that being said, nobody's here. I'm going to close this down. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys, and I'm going to rest my voice, get ready for tomorrow. Take care, everybody.